It's a great working with you today. Good job, my friend.
Thank you so much, Gord. And for Steve Murley, Gord Chapman, myself, Spencer Byers, and of course the great Mark Perry in the control room. 2 for 2 tonight are the OSDSS Wolves over the St. Mary's Mustangs, just as they were last year in the second annual Hockey Fest. I will mention the Attack in action tonight in Peterborough, tomorrow in action against Kingston, and then in Ottawa on Sunday. So big hockey games in the Eastern Conference for the Attack. But for us here tonight, that'll be it for Hockey Fest, at least for the high school games. Stay tuned for the university games on Saturday here at the Bayshore Rogers TV.
Due to the length of the preceding program, we now join the regularly scheduled program already in progress.
Evolved, and as I also started to embrace it a little bit more, I really started to get into I was extremely obsessed with Egypt and the mystery schools and spirituality and ascension and expansion and astrology and moving into galactic astrology. And of course those open more doors as you evolve and you grow, because then you move into women's mysteries and the womb healing and the grail codes, ascension, activations and light language and meditation. And as you start to really heal and also heal your own shadow, dealing with your greatest pain, you become more authentic, you ignite, and you heal the dormant and distorted aspects of yourself. So I literally became obsessed, and it was to help me also to heal myself and to work through my own wounds. And of course, what was amazing is that I was working through my own wounds. People would show up, and then some of them would also be having some of the same issues. So we would work through that with them, and through reflection and mirror work and healing and crystals. I mean, I've been obsessed. I love what I do. It's such a passion, and I've been so grateful to be able to travel and to in essence, see the world, because I've actually been doing retreats, spiritual retreats, since 2007, and I've been on tour since 2003. And so now I'm actually working with a fantastic group called Galaxy Psychic Expos, and we travel right across Canada. So it's been incredible. I've been across this country now on tour 4 times. We've met the most amazing people and have really been able to expand ourselves, our soul, our connection. And it's just been an incredible ride. I can't even put into words.
All right. Now you talked about working with mirrors. What is it you do with mirror? I have been taught mirror work as well, but we were using it for past life regressions.
Well, that's interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, that's the only way I've ever heard of using mirrors. So this is why when you said mirror work, I thought, oh, that kind of.
Oh, it's so this is really, for a very long time, I was always dealing with, I grew up, I had a lot of narcissistic relationships in my past. And, being an empath, I just didn't understand boundaries. It took me a very long time to learn. And I'm sure many people listening to this can totally attest to this, because they've also experienced the same thing. And when you start to feel, or you feel too much, it felt like I had shut myself down. And so as I was working through it, what I realized was that one of the biggest lessons of whenever you're dealing with narcissism, the gift of it is actually that you have to learn how to love yourself. Because once you have those boundaries, a lot of that dissolves, and those distorted aspects of yourself where you're also beating yourself up, scolding yourself, judging yourself, you can be really brutal with yourself. And so this is where alchemy and the shadow really started to come through. That was around 2007 for me. And that was around the time when Pluto, the planet Pluto, had just entered into Capricorn. And thank God it's about to leave now, because it's really made an intense it's those of you will really understand that this is a huge shift. It's a generational planet. So it really dives deep, goes deep into the psyche to pull out that deep foundation or whatever you've been working through, our ancestral genetic line and lineage with our unconscious patterns or our emotions that we have brought forward through our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmother. And I mean, it's not just the mother lineage, it's also the father. So I just started hearing of it. And I was like, what is mirror work? And mirror, I kept hearing mirror. And for a long time, I had also heard, and maybe you're aware of this too, was that mirrors are also portals, and they can lock messages, images. They're also portals to other worlds. So you have to learn how to protect yourself as well with mirrors. And I remember when I was moving, about 10 years ago, I had bought a condo. I had a mirror that I'd had since I was 8 years old. And my guides were like, you need to get rid of this. And I went outside and I threw it in the dumpster and watched it smash into a million pieces. And, you know, they say when you break a mirror, it's bad luck. Yep. But it literally flew out into, I saw like almost like these dark images, like birds just flying out. And it was like so much was released and there was so much relief. But in 2020, I had been really listening to mirror work or hearing mirror work. I started seeing it everywhere in social media. So I was like, what is this all about? So I Googled it and I found a book by Louise Hay, Mirror Work. And this book absolutely changed my life. And I recommend it to so many people because especially when you feel, sometimes when you connect with someone, you feel they get a stabbing pain in the heart, which is not a heart attack or stroke. It's just that when they get upset, they internalize. When they get angry, they hold everything in. They turn it on themselves. And it shuts themselves down because it feels like they stick their heart into a safety deposit box behind a bank vault in a meat locker, and they shut themselves off from allowing them to receive love. So of course they're not receiving love, but they're also not loving themselves. Yeah. So this book completely changed my whole world. And it really helped me to dive even deeper to some of the words that may have been perpetuating in my mind, of words I might have heard when I was a child or when, you know, whatever, through your teenage years when you're so impressionable. And we're able to dissolve it and to really connect to those deep wounds that I was never able to get release. And then right after I did that book, I became a part of a group that wrote a book that became a bestseller in 6 countries. So it was such an arrival at moving ahead with life and opening the door to allow greater more in, but also to actually once and for all let love in and not block myself from receiving love. And it's been extraordinary how it's absolutely transmuted my life, and with all the people that I have been so grateful and gifted to be able to read for. So it's just a whole new level. And then of course I was back on tour, so it's been unbelievable how many people I have connected to that have this wound.
Now, do you do classes and teach people how to do this?
I used to. But now what I do is I really needed to take time off. I needed to get away from social media and just like really integrate, because I went a little crazy. I launched a mystery school in over the COVID years and really expanded into women's mysteries and womb healing and womb priestess connections and working with the Egyptian pantheon. But I've always been wanting to lead retreats to Egypt. That's always been my number one thing. Mm-hmm. And also to sing in the temples. And so now we're doing it. And this is my second time going to Egypt. And it's we're going to be doing that hopefully once a year or once every other year. and traveling to all the sites where we're connecting with Hathor and Isis and Mary Magdalene, and going to see Yeshua's where they lived in Cairo. And of course, all the toning activations and initiations of Egypt. My Egyptologist, the ground team in Egypt, is extraordinary. And they literally live across the street from the pyramids and the Sphinx. And
now, what do you do? Because it's got down here that you are a womb priestess. That's
one of the things.
Now, what is that?
So I am an oracle. So usually the way people meet me first is as a reader. And so I'm an oracle. I have full sensory perception. It means I have use of all my abilities, and they're continually expanding. I am also a quantum healer. I can do interstellar activations, galactic activations, holographic journeys, trips, activations, remote healings, animal communication, DNA transfiguration, activations of the Merkaba, crystal activations. Sometimes I get bored, so I like to expand. I like to grow. I like to read. I like to try other things.
Now, what is the difference between an oracle and a psychic or a medium?
Actually, a really good question. And a medium. Yeah, I was just going to add a medium. So they say too that a medium can be a psychic, but not all psychics can be mediums. So mediums is when you can speak to loved ones beyond the veil. And there's also a psychic. There's also a reader. A reader is not someone I find that is connected. Usually they can just read the cards. It's like a technician. It's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, reading cards, it's memory work.
And memory. That's But a card can have 10 different meanings depending on
absolutely
the question, and it's incredible that all the symbolism that is inside of the cards that is mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. And a psychic, clairvoyant, do you see, do you feel, do you absorb, how do you read, how do you connect? So this is why it's so important to learn how to protect yourself, understand your boundaries. That's always the first lesson of any mystery school, which I'm sure you're aware of, and many of you listening to this would also know this. But for those of you who don't, that's always the first major lesson. So you know what's your energy, and you can tell when it's someone else's coming in, and learn how to clear it so that you don't absorb it and you're able to move forward. And I usually find that Black Obsidian is one of the most amazing crystals to keep on you when you're working through a lot of these issues, especially, in the beginning. And how to transform and keep elevating and growing, because some people only know too that they say there's only 7 chakras. Mm-hmm. So most of us deal with the first or second, but there's actually over 352. So we're not even scratching the surface. So it's all about awareness, and I guess what we're ready to learn, or what we agree to learn, or what we ask to learn, because they'll never give us more than we need.
That's right.
And an oracle embodies all.
Okay. Now, when you talk about with cards, how they can have many different meanings. And it's interesting that you say that, because I'm working on creating a new deck of cards now. Mm-hmm. And some of them.
But is it going to be oracle cards or tarot cards?
Oracle.
Okay. That's different.
Whoops.
Beautiful.
See, that's one of them. Now, they have given me that meaning for some of them. Mm-hmm. But the other ones, some of the others, they've said that it is transmutable, that it's changeable. Just do your usual and go with what you feel, and don't worry about trying to, because they know I have a problem with memory at my age. And, and it is exactly what you were saying.
Let's get you some lion's mane and ginkgo biloba for that.
It doesn't work for me. It puts me to sleep.
Oh, no.
I don't do well with different medications and supplements, and a lot of them just seem to work the opposite on me.
Then we got to find you a good crystal.
Oh yeah, I've got loads of those.
Yeah, me too. They're everywhere.
Oh God, yeah. I've got them on my desk, my office. I have them in my purse, my rooms, my bedroom. They're all over
My
the
bed is actually an altar of rose quartz and
Ooh.
lemurian and amethyst. It's an incredible sleep.
Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet. It's but no, I love my crystals. It's just
Obsessed.
yeah, and the energies
You
are
understood the assignment.
oh yeah, I did. And I do. And I'm actually with some of the cards, I'm have been told that I have to draw some crystals on the cards. So that's something that I'm going to have to, I think, practice on a piece of paper before I put them on the cards.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
great.
done
That's
it
going to
before.
come. I love it.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's just, and I'm quite sure that you're the same way with this. You with so many things, you go where spirit takes you, and it
Exactly.
for anyone that's new into this, and I think you'll agree with me on this, Charlotte, that a lot of it's learning to trust in the self, but also learning to trust in the universe. The universe always has a plan.
That's a huge one. And how to not get involved where you want to karmically deliver justice, where you have to understand that everybody has a lesson and a reason for being here. And
Absolutely.
how, case in point, the US election.
Oh
But let's not get into that.
no. Yeah, that's you know, without really getting into it, I am going to say I think that the results can be very interesting. And I also don't think it's going to go where people expect it to go.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And I think that with whoever is elected,
Mhm.
it's not going to, they're not going to pull through on what they have been promoting.
Well,
Yeah.
who has though? I mean, really.
Well, that's it. I mean, they're so busy banging each other, bashing each other that,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, but then wait until
Yeah.
we get deeper into the Canadian politics.
Oh, that, yeah, let's get going on that one as well. That needs to happen. So,
Oh boy. But a lot of that, I do feel there's going to be a lot of changes there next year. And actually, what we're talking about next year,
mhm.
are there are there any predictions in general?
Well, actually, this one's going to be a tough one to do as a prediction because we have, if you know about astrology, check this out. Pluto, which we've been talking about, is a generational planet, is
Mhm.
moving into Aquarius as of November 19th and will be there for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But it's not just Pluto that is shifting. All the outer planets so that would be Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, they're all changing. And they're all again, they're also generational planets that only change like 8 to 10 to 12 to 14 years. Each one's a little bit different. So next year is going to look absolutely nothing like this year, but it's still going to be revelations and expansion and opening up to new levels. So it's kind of difficult to really put what is going to as and I want to say this is the first year that I even get that. Usually I get very clear predictions, but not this
Yeah.
year. It's very different. And what I'm so grateful for is that I'm going to be in Egypt literally at the change. And I'm going to be there for about a month. And to be there and to be in that frequency and that energy at those vortexes and those incredible temples, and
Mhm.
then to come home into this new, I can't even begin to describe how excited I am.
Yeah, one of the things that I have picked on, and even working with my cards,
Mhm.
because I've created several decks of oracle cards.
Amazing.
It's just I get told, okay, you're going to do this now. All right.
Okay.
Okay, whatever you say. Because I'm not very good at listening to other people, but I have learned to listen to my guides over the years.
Thank God for that.
Oh boy, here we go again. But one of the things that I have picked up for next year is a lot of awareness. on things, and in particular, spiritual awareness and awareness of the self. One of the questions that I have now, you do what you've got down here, galactic astrology.
Yeah.
And I would like to get into that just to see sort of what is the difference. But my generation, like growing up in the 60s and the 70s, you know, it was all the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and how Aquarius, it's going to be, I can't remember, is it 200 years of peace? Or 100?
I believe 2000.
2000, okay. I know
2000.
But
10,000 years of chaos and 2,000 years of peace.
We've got to go through all that chaos first.
Yeah, well, we're exhausted. Well, we're at the tail end of it now, so.
Well, true. But okay, so with this peace, the 2,000 years of peace, when does that actually kick in? Does it kick in on, you said it was the 19th of November?
We're already in it. It's already happening because if you recall back in, I think it was either 2022 or it might have even been 21, there was a shift that happened, and this might be the one you're talking about, where we moved from the earth element into the air element.
Okay.
And now, like, it's like the little pieces. So think of it like a clock. And it's funny that that was the card you pulled, is that how everything has its time, the seasons, right? Where we even say, too, that some people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But it's the same thing with the energies. Not all of it is forever. And so what's happening is, like, these are locks, they're joints. One of the things I learned through the Egyptians with time is that we have 13 major joints in our body and they shift. So it's almost like they break open. So think of it like it being like this for 200 years, and then it reopens and then transfigures itself and then goes in like this. So you're activating the next step, the next realm, the next evolution. And I like to see it like a spiral, because sometimes you feel like you're going up a staircase. So if you're left brain, you're goal orientated and you see like charts and graphs, and you try to live your life in that kind of a sense, or you over intellectualize your intuition, which is what I usually see with people who are very claircognizant. They know. They don't know how they know. They just know that they know, but they can't explain that they know. So with the right brain, you want to go spiraling upwards, because you may feel like you're going in the same direction, or you're going in circles, but you're actually always elevating because you're going higher and you see more, you expand more, your vision is more, you see more of the horizon. So
now it's funny that you brought up about clocks, because when I started doing these cards, I thought I was only going to do 24 in the deck. Anyway,
right.
I'm over 30, but I have these, so far I've done 4.
Very cool. So it
With
could be a
clock.
clock for each element as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dimension, each hemisphere.
Yeah. And then I did one with an hourglass, which still deals with time.
Hands of
But I've
time.
been told that I have to do several more using clocks. And I thought,
That can also be related to with alchemy and our shadow, because when you're in your shadow self, your ego self, you think you're running out of time. But since the soul is eternal,
okay, yeah,
there is no time, and we don't have time. Time is a construct by people. It's not a divine construct.
No.
So you're moving through or breaking through the illusion.
Exactly. And 3 of the ones with clocks all have chains. Which
interesting.
Don't be chained.
Is that a raven on the other one? I can't tell.
Yeah.
So you're moving past the magic, and the raven is trying to break you out.
Yeah.
Of the chains of the shadow self.
This one, the one up here, has chains, and it's like, get rid of the chains. Don't be changed.
What's
Don't
interesting to me though? That one there actually reminds me of dead and false light, and moving out of toxic positivity. Because you have the 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because toxic positivity is when we say good vibes only. Well, it needs to be all vibes.
Well, it does. It does. Now, how is galactic astrology different from regular astrology?
Well, you have Western astrology, a Vedic astrology. The reason I got obsessed with it is because when I was 38 years old, I had a reading and I found out that I was born on a new moon solar eclipse. I actually hated my birthday. And I don't like, who do you meet that hates their birthday? I was like, come on, my birthday's January 4th. And I always felt like I was being pulled back. I was always held back a year because, the cutoff January 1st, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like I was behind. And when I got that reading, it was really interesting because the next year was also a new moon solar eclipse on my birthday. So it was an activation. And that's when I got introduced to galactic astrology, because what it said is when you have a solar eclipse, what it does is it blocks out the light, and because it was solar, blocks out the sun so you can see past what's on the planetary and see into the galaxy, so that you're also connecting with the cosmic womb, the grand central sun, the planets. I do this activation where we activate the master cells within the physical body structure.
Mm-hmm.
And the master cells are in the base of the spine, the perineum. And what happens, usually the Palladians and the Syrians help me with this. So galactic is also too when you're connecting with all the different beings and dimensional beings and light connections and the avatars. And so what they were showing me was that as we activated the master cells and cleared the wounds, the patterns, so we were going into the space between the spaces of the cells, the molecules, and the tissues. What happened was it would not just expand the time and the space, where you would go in between the space between the spaces, as we're getting into it, it would actually move the cell intercellularly so that the spin would equal the spin of the planets within our solar system, so that we're actually in complete alignment, not just with Earth, but our planetary solar system. Now, they say that our physical body structure, our molecular structure, is actually not aligned with Earth. It's more aligned to Mars. And so they say that we had I think they called it a breakaway civilization that actually came from Mars here to Earth. And so our body structure and our cells were not configured. So when I'm doing activations, usually, and I always call in the Palladians, Assyrians, Andromedans, especially the Arcturians, because they have the most amazing advanced technologies in the universe. And they're always talking about the cells and elevating, but also preparing the physical body structure so the soul can descend. So this is where we have that separation and that split, because you have that physical body structure, which is your masculine side, and you have the soul side, which is the feminine side. And we want to bring the two together, higher self, sixth dimension, into your third body structure, so that you can actually be in all those dimensions at once, but intercellularly. And when the cell structure is flowing like that, it actually allows for the Kundalini and the tantric energies to synergistically align with the physical body structure, so that you can elevate and grow. And then that's when all your other abilities come in. This is where we can go into Atlantis and the 5 gifts we have as ascended masters.
Now, I have a question, maybe an odd question.
No.
Maybe not.
Go for it.
One of the things that I've noticed lately is all of a sudden I'm connecting with people who, we're talking about star children, we're talking about star seeds, talking about the
Blu-rays,
different galaxies, Blu-ray, where our soul has originated on different planets, different galaxies.
Right.
Now, I know, I do realize, I know that there are those from other planets that are already here. But because it's all...
you can go into the reptilians and the Anunnaki here too.
Yeah. But anyway, because all of a sudden it's coming to such a forefront with me, anyway, do you feel that maybe in the coming year or two that they are actually going to make themselves more known?
They're already here. They're already known. And energetically, usually before a planet goes through its ascension phase, the Palladians, which are 5th dimensional beings, they show up about 100 years before the evolution. So they're already here.
Yeah.
And, whatever we're even hearing from the governments and all this disclosure is, because again, there's good aliens, there's bad aliens, whatever you want to call it. There's all sorts, of course, like there is with humans. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
And we've all heard about the contracts or whatever they've done with the Greys in Florida in the 50s or whatever, and the Roswell stuff. But this is more advanced because they really want to see us grow and expand and evolve.
Yeah.
I mean, have you not also heard too, they're saying there's some spaceship heading this way that course corrected, and Alexa has been telling everybody how it is heading here. But I've heard conflicting reports that this mothership will be here in 10 years, 3 weeks. It's different every couple of days. But energetically, all you have to do is just call on them. And sometimes I see them as flashes of lights around people. Sometimes they materialize. The very first time I ever saw Palladian, they had the most beautiful blue you've ever seen, the sapphire blue robes on. And I just saw these people running around with robes. And I was like, who are these people? Or who are these souls? And their energy is incredible. And it's the same too, like when you're dealing with I was going to say the Ashtar Command, because they say that's one of the motherships that's around the planetary solar system that is protecting us, but it has many different types of aliens on it. And truthfully, we're aliens too, because we don't belong here.
No, but we are going to take a short break, Charlotte. And then we'll be back. And one of the things that I do want to talk about, seeing as we're into all of this stuff, is an ascension mentor and exactly what is ascension. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We invite you to play What's My Line?
Welcome, Mrs. Baker. Those folks over there need to guess your extraordinary occupation.
Are you an entertainer, Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Do people come to watch you, perform?
Yes. Do you travel for work? Yes, I do.
Do you ever wear a special type of costume?
Yes.
Is your job, physical?
Yes, indeed.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Are you a professional baseball player?
Yes, I am.
Created during the Second World War, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League included 68 Canadians. One of its brightest stars was my mother, Saskatchewan's Mary Bonnie Baker, a pioneer for women in sports.
Hi, I'm Bruce McDonald, forward for the Owen Sound Attack. Rogers TV is the official broadcaster of the Owen Sound Attack. Catch all of our games live on Rogers TV, Georgian Bay.
And welcome back. All righty. Now, God, there's just so many things here that Charlotte does that I'm not really sure where to go next. One of the things that I would like to talk about.
What calls you?
Yeah. Are, because you do psychic fairs.
Yes.
And now, are you just with the one promoter, or do you work with several different promoters?
No, just Galaxy. Only Galaxy.
Yeah.
So you can check them out. We have shows across the country, at least 30. So you can find us in a city near you. And the new schedule for the 2025 season is going to be up probably beginning, I'm sure by Christmas, so that you'll be able to see where you are, how close one will be to you. We have amazing readers and so many different varied readers, from astrologists to healers to crystals galore. You'll go crazy with the crystals. I know I do.
I know. I did. I bought some. I was at the show. I went to the fair in Orangeville.
Okay. Amazing.
It was sort of a toss-up. Do I go to Orangeville, where I don't have to drive through Kitchener, or do I go to Kitchener so I can see Richard Ravenhawk? Because Richard and I go way back.
Wow.
And we did psychic fit. God, I think, yeah, we worked with Don Nosbaum.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, you bet
That's
it
a
is.
very long time ago. You
Yep.
must have worked with Ginger too. And
I didn't do, now I know Richard worked with Ginger. I didn't. Well, when she was with Dawn, I did, but then
it's funny. I met Richard, was probably one of the first psychics I met about 25 years ago.
Well, Richard used to have a show he was in Grimsby, where he did the show called Psychic Dimensions. And that was the very first time I'd ever been interviewed or actually been on TV. And I was so nervous about it because I thought, oh God, what if I have to go pee partway through?
And look at you now, your own show. You're doing great.
Oh, I know. I've been on national TV, international, all of this. And honestly, I will say I have Richard to thank because he gave me the confidence to.
He gave you the push.
He did. Yeah, I had to find the confidence. He gave me the push. But no, I love him dearly. But with the shows, because it's the same group of you that travel together, correct?
Yes.
So it becomes family.
Yes.
This is what we used to do. I mean, and again, this is going way back.
It's a lot of fun, especially when we go out west. We do more things together because we're all together, right? And we have like a caravan of psychics. So, we have a good time. And I can't divulge any of the.
Oh, no.
But one of the best ones is when a whole bunch of us went to the gun range and we played with the bows and arrows and went axe throwing. You can just imagine a pack of psychics doing that together. It was so hilarious. Everybody had such a good time. It was
when I
way to blow off steam.
I can't remember what promoter it was with, but I went out west but we did Calgary, Vancouver, Victoria.
Great shows, great cities.
And there was another one, and I can't remember, Edmonton or Calgary. Calgary. And it was the same group of us that traveled together.
Yeah.
And I had my oldest daughter with me at the time. Mm-hmm. And oh God, she had the best time. And one night we went out for dinner, and they're teaching her how to make energy balls. Right? And throwing these energy balls all over the place.
That's fun.
Oh yeah, it really was.
There's a lot of great people, and it's a lot of fun. And we work hard and we play hard too. So you got to have that balance.
Well, you do.
And there's tons of adventures in between.
Yeah. And I will say that the majority of us, our sense of humor is a little different.
Yeah.
But it has to be, in a sense, because of what we do, because we get so involved. Like we're not so much involved, but helping other people and helping people deal with their problems and things like that.
Yes.
We don't solve your problems for you. We tell you. We
hold the space for you to help how to figure it out.
That's right, because we can't do it. I'm sure you have found the same thing, but I know there's times I've had clients call me up. Hi, this is so-and-so. They just give me their first name and I'm thinking, okay, now who are you? Like,
what is revealed?
Exactly.
But I also too, like the beauty of this.
And then they say, well, remember what you told me? And I'm like,
yes,
remember who you are.
And you read them 15 years ago. And
and it's like, well, I didn't do what you said. And now I've got into trouble. Can you fix it for me? And it's like, no.
No.
You got to fix it yourself.
You got to take responsibility and ownership.
You do. And, this is an important thing, I think, for people to understand when they come to see us and get a reading done, that you have to take ownership.
Yeah.
You really do. We can guide you. We can show you the path. We can show you it. But it's up to you what you do.
And, people really appreciate it when you are straight up with them. No BS. Yeah. And it's, if you want that, then, that's fine, but eventually it comes to a point where you can't live like that anymore, and you need to face your demons. You need to embrace yourself, your power, heal yourself, because that is how you grow.
Well, it is. And there's times,
but you also heal the world by doing it too, one person at a time, starting with yourself.
Absolutely. And, like I have had people say to me, because I've said to them, look, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I see. And they said, well, that's why we come to you. Because we know that if we deserve a kick in the backside, you'll give it to us.
Yeah.
But that comes with age. Anyway.
It does. And sometimes, unfortunately, some of the words come out too.
But
people really appreciate it. So
I know there's times people have asked me a question and then I look and they just start laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? You don't have to say the words. We can see it on your face. I'm saying, how can I be tactful with this?
That's why you give a disclaimer before you start. That's what I do now.
Yeah, well, I do that when I get into healing. I give a disclaimer. Now, an ascension mentor. What exactly, for those that I know, like ascension, it's something that we hear about a lot, but I know there's a lot of people who don't really understand what is it.
You can even say that about spirituality too, because it's such a vast topic. But ascension really is about, so we have ascension and we have descension. And sometimes people think that ascension is that you leave your body and you go to heaven, but that's not the case.
No.
That does nobody, that serves nobody. It doesn't, you're not able to accomplish anything. So descension is when the soul, actually, I just want to retrace the steps and take you back to a temple in Egypt called Saqqara. And they have the pyramid text on the wall, and on the ceiling, they have a 5-pointed star. And you see a 5-pointed star in many places when you're in Egypt, because what it represents is when the human becomes a star and when the star becomes a human, and all the lessons that go with it. 5-pointed star, right? The head, the arms, the legs. Also the elements and how you connect, right? Because our physical body is literally a vehicle and that our soul uses to connect, to be able to be here on the third dimension. So again, it's not about taking off, but ascension also has to do with all the lessons that come with each chakra, hologram, organ and tissue. Many times when I've, many years was doing healing work, I would actually see the sacred geometry pop up and retransfigure itself and pop back in to the body, so that was realigned. They say too, from Atlantis, that's the last time we used our Merkabahs, which is our vehicle of light, right? The 6-pointed star. But there's many variations of that too, because you can also elevate that to 8, 10, 12, 16 star Merkabahs, right? Which is just, again, acceleration as you're healing, growing, Godspeed to infinity. But what it does is your cells, your molecule tissues, they pick up speed. And so with that, you also receive more gifts. The more you meditate, the more you clear, the more your abilities become stronger, the more you awaken. I have this program that I call Embodied Transcendence, which I started it off as a 3-month program, but or moved it into, it's a mentorship, but now I've moved it into 4 and 5 months, because the activations themselves are so powerful that you need the time and the space of the integration to be able to go to the next level. And through this Embodied Transcendence, what we do is we work through the Akashic records, we connect with your past, present, future parallel lifetimes, we clear the contracts, the wounds, the issues, the karmic issues, the dharma, whatever comes up. Again, as you know too, when you tune in, it comes to you. You never know where you're going to go. So I have a base that I start with, and then it lets me go wherever I need to go. But over all the years, I've been able to deal also too with some of the dark aspects, and to be able to clear the dark the pain, the grief, and the more you embrace that part of yourself, the more authentic you become, the more powerful you become, and the more you can help others. So there's many different activations. There's the master cells. There is where you do the vows with the Ace of Swords and the Holy Grail, and how to learn to go off planet, and how to activate, how to do holographic by location aspects as well, and also to how you become, well, we are ascended masters. Everybody on the planet is an ascended master. It's just remembering it. And I'm just trying to remember all the activations because I have so many and so many very different ones that I do. And I used to do activations only on eclipses, but since I've been on tour with Galaxy, I just do the Galaxy shows now and retreats. And then once in a while, you'll see me doing 1-day retreats, or now I'm back to the full retreats, one-on-ones, mentorships, and the odd time I will throw in a class or a master class. So it's just really about timing, because there's so much to do. And all the lives, try and get on lives and try to do as much. But again, I really needed to take a break from social media because it was getting too much.
Sometimes you have to. You have to. Now, Charlotte,
I didn't think it was going to be 2 years.
Yeah. If someone wants to get hold of you, what is the best way?
Probably my website, and charlotteszivak.com. And I mean, of course, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram and all the socials and Facebook, but probably the website is the best. And sometimes it takes me, I mean, I'm so grateful now to have a team, and I really truthfully, we'll get back to you, but sometimes it can take up to 72 hours. So we try to be as fast as we can with response, but sometimes it can be a lot. So and availabilities, there's only certain times of the year that I'm actually available for one-on-ones, or when I also do the mentorships. And because of course in between we have the tour and the retreats. So I'm looking to do Hawaii next, and I have some plans for India and Sedona again. But Egypt is always going to be, that's one of my top ones. And singing in the temples.
Yeah. Now, when you do the retreats, is this something that people can sign on with to go with you, or is this something that you do?
Yes, absolutely. And I have 2 options for the retreats. So the first option is you can come with me, but you can also come with me on a holographic journey as well too. So you can actually experience the activations, because then I'll send them remotely and holographically from wherever I am in the world. So from Egypt, from the temples, I would also bring you with me. So I have a special way to do that as well too, which is also an ability you learn through ascension.
Yeah. Now,
right? By location.
Now, you say sending it to someone holographically, but what if they are not at a level where they can see the holograph?
Oh, well, then they wouldn't have found me. Then it wouldn't have happened, right? Because, as you know, frequency. But for those of you who are in the Arizona area or the West Coast, head down to Sedona and go visit Bell Rock. That is an interstellar vortex activation. So that's a really good place to go to start working on building up your frequency. So, because again, as you know, everything's about frequency, energies, and vibes. One of my favorite lines from Tesla, which is on my pamphlet and has been there for years. So
yeah. Now I'm just looking.
I can send you the links for that as well too, because by the time you said this will air, I think I'll be heading to Egypt within days. So we'll have the hologram, the holographic journey will be available by then, unless you do a last minute and decide to show up. But they'll be next year. So
yeah, no, that would be, really interesting. And of course, the different places that you go to.
It's incredible. And my Egyptologist, he is an indigenous wisdom keeper in Egypt that has been in the oral tradition for centuries. And his grandfather was also in the pyramid codes, Hakim Anwar. And so my Egyptologist is also Hakeem Anwar Jr. And we have an incredible ground team. And he married one of my girlfriends, my dear friends, Karina, who is also, she's an incredible astrologist. So we have come up with, between the three of us, with this incredible itinerary where we each bring our gifts and blow the roof off the place. So
have you ever thought about doing a retreat in Scotland?
Well, I'm not really, probably only when I saw Jamie. I forget his last name, but from Outlander.
Oh yeah.
But no, maybe I want to go see Craig Ledoux, but it's not as high on my list as, but you know what? I want to go to England too, because I would really like to go to Avalon. So Glastonbury, Avalon, and to connect with the frequencies there as well too, because of the Holy Grail, and the Mary line says that also evolves from there. And I'd also like to go to the south of France. So
that would be nice. No, there's a lot of very spiritual places up in Scotland. And
I must learn more.
Yeah, you must, because I'm being told to tell it to you.
Thank you for that message.
You're welcome. But like, especially where the stones are, the different stones.
Yeah, they say those are portals, stargates in between, and the connections with the ley lines. So
yeah, and
well, we are stargates, right? Every cell, molecule, and tissue in your body is a stargate. So, and my Egyptian tour is actually called Stargates of Initiation. So,
interesting.
The alchemy of Egypt. We're going to ignite the sacred fire.
Ooh, that sounds fun. Interesting, definitely. Now, so I've also read down here that you do self-love activation.
Yes. Mirror work. And lots of rose quartz.
Yeah. Now we've only got about 7 minutes left or so, 6 or 7. But I would like to talk a little bit about self-love activation, and to sort of loving the self. It's a difficult thing for some people, but it's also very important. So,
so you don't get distracted. Well, it's so that you don't get distracted by sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And you want to connect to, I mean, it's also too about reclaiming our sexual sovereignty. And for me, I'm more into Tantra than anything else, because it's energetically, it's not about, they want to say with the base, they say that this is why the Holy Grail is so important in the womb, because, and how they used to have also 2 sex priestesses in Egypt, because they would actually orgasm inwards, where they would hold the breath and pull the energy upwards so that it would activate your third eye and elevate it so it opens up, which would be the Holy Grail, and connect you to the mind of light, the mind of God, so that your whole body structure could also evolve, your DNA structure could. And that's another thing that we've lost. And that's one of the lessons too, where they talked about how Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, which she wasn't. She was a sex priestess in the temple of Isis. So for some of you, this might be jarring. For some of you, it's going to trigger you. But these are some of the truths, I guess you can say, of the universe that are being revealed now. And the technology of Tantra, the technology of breath work, the technology of the Ankh and the Egyptian mysteries and the key of life. This is all connected. So the womb is a stargate. The cervix is a stargate. And, you know, some doors only open from within. So
now, exactly what is the Holy Grail? I mean, I love yourself. You're going to laugh at this. I learned about the Holy Grail, Monty Python.
Right? It's not a cup in a cave in the Middle East somewhere. I'll bite your kneecaps off.
So exactly, I say, what is the Holy Grail?
I did this. So my mystery school revolves around the womb. And one of the courses was Sophia Magdalene. Sophia is the Divine Mother, name of the Divine Mother, the cosmic realms, and Magdalene Magdalene is a title, Mary is a title.
Mhm.
And so when we activate our womb, as we have chakras through our body, our wombs also have chakras that we call grail gates. And each grail gate is, I'm not sure how to word this because of how, how the algorithm works for what we can talk about and what we can on air. But each grail gate, so the first grail gate is actually the yoni lips. So the yoni is Sanskrit for vagina. And so each grail gate, you have the maiden, mother, and crone. So the G-spot would be the mother, and the cervix is the crone. And it travels all the way through where we heal our traumas, our abuses, our wounds. Each one unlocks a deeper resonance within yourself, a deep wound, a deep connection, but also our ancestral genetic line and lineage. Now, as we go into where it opens up when it goes into the womb, so this is how the Ankh starts to come up, because the holy road is the first grail gates, and then it opens up into a circle where you have the ovaries, and then you have the top part. So they call it the sunrise and the sunset, because the ovaries represent your masculine and your feminine, and divine masculine, divine feminine, and how we intercellularly move them through the symbol of infinity to bring in that exact point. So you have the black ray and the white ray, which is the absolute balance of masculine and feminine. And then you go to the fourth. This is where you bring in the elements and our dragons. So many times I see dragons in teacups and around people. And of course, this year was also the year of the dragon.
Yeah.
But the dragon is also an element of protection of women and the womb. And you have the earth dragon, the air element dragon, the water element dragon. And then it also connects you with the air element, connects you to your higher self and also your starseed lineage and your galactic heritage.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating, and there's activations for each that help you to embrace and become embodied transcendence.
Yeah. Well, our time is done. And I would like to thank you so much, but I do want to add one thing quickly. I was born the year of the dragon. My oldest daughter is a dragon, and I have 2 granddaughters that are dragons.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your lineage is awakening. You're looking to connect.
Oh, yeah. And I
have a great book I can suggest for you if you like. You could do it maybe with all your family.
Yeah.
So that would be Womb Awakening by Serene and Ezra Bernstein. I might have said their name wrong. I apologize. That would be a great book for you to work with your family.
But anyway, we are at the end of the show. And I would like to thank you very much for being a guest. And for everyone else, remember, keep laughter in your heart, because laughter really is life's best medicine. Thank you, and see you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Piece by piece. Watch Piece by Piece at home. From revolutionary artist Pharrell Williams, experience a movie unlike anything you've ever seen.
Music was mesmerizing to me, and that became my superpower.
With the biggest star-studded lineup in the Lego universe.
That's incredible.
That's Pharrell on the hood. I was always a bad gangster, but you brought out a smile.
Look what we can do when we come together. Piece by piece.
For me, it all started here.
I do my best work here.
Scores! Oh my goodness! He is
This guy's dangerous from here, here, and here.
We're watching history in the making here. And our fans